Now, while those were thoughts about production and consumption, why it is necessary today for the European Union to focus more in India and vice versa. Let me say a few words about connectivity as well, because my colleague from Greece touched on it. He spoke rightly about the IMEC corridor, the India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. And when this agreement, this understanding in principle was reached last September on the sidelines of the G20, perhaps all of us were not adequately cognizant of the fragility of existing connectivity. Recent events on the Red Sea, in the Gulf of Aden, have reminded us of that. And it isn't just recent events. If we go back, we saw what happened when the Suez Canal was blocked by a mishap for some time. So the need today to create multiple corridors of connectivity, supporting corridors of connectivity, different forms with their own inbuilt resilience, is something which is vital. And it is vital because at either end of this, you actually have two big production and consumption centers, Europe and India. Now, the IMEC is not the only corridor. There are others. There's a longer one which is being worked through Iran. But I also want to mention some other potential connectivity channels which would be of long-term interest to India and Europe. One of them is actually the polar route. So climate change, I should remind our Latvian colleagues, sometimes can have some inadvertent benefits as well. So there is today a serious assumption that the polar route could actually open up a different logistical pathway between India and Europe, which will go through the Indo-Pacific. I must also share with our European friends that within South Asia, in this region, South Asia and beyond, there are again very big connectivity projects already under execution, and still bolder thoughts in the making. Between India and its immediate neighbors, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, we have seen actually in terms of roads, grid connections, waterways, a very big change which has come about. There is a much more arduous project, the Trilateral highway, and in fact, if the IMEC connects India to Europe through the west, and the Trilateral highway, when it is done, and we have challenges in Myanmar there, but when the Trilateral highway is done, it would go all the way to the Vietnamese coast. So you actually will have a lateral connectivity grid which would connect Europe all the way to the Pacific, mostly by land. So it is surely a thought for your consideration. Now, on connectivity, I think we would particularly value working with Europe, because it is important today that connectivity is collaborative, it is transparent, it is based on viable projects, it doesn't have hidden agendas, and by doing that, we will set before the world a model of how international cooperation on connectivity should work, and we hope that other countries will draw appropriate lessons from that model.